In this video, I want to show you how to nail mix bus compression. This is one of those things that, if done right, can really elevate your mix. It can help to glue it all together and just give it that kind of professional sheen that separates a pro mix to an amateur bedroom mix. However, if you mess this up, it can completely ruin your mix and turn a great sounding mix to trash literally in seconds. So this really is one of those things that can make or break your mix, even down to the different styles of compressors that can be used on a mix bus as well. So let's dive in. I'm going to play you a short section of this mix that I've finished. It's been signed off by the artist as well. And then we're going to look at what the mix bus compressor is doing. I'm going to show you how I set it up. And I'm going to also show you what happens if we switch to a different style of compressor, and also what happens when we overdo it.
Just need you to see that every time that we speak, you make my heart skip a beat. You keep my fire burning bright. But every time that we try to turn these wrongs into rights, I'm feeling you slip away. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true that you're trying to find someone new.
Okay, so this mix sounds really great. It's really well balanced. It's got lots of energy. Everything is exactly where it should be, and it sounds really well glued together. And a big part of that is the mix bus, particularly the compression that's happening on the mix bus. Now, when it comes to choosing a compressor for you to put on your tube bus, there are a ton of options, and largely that is going to come down to individual choice and taste. Most mix engineers have a compressor that they use more often than not on the mix bus, just because they like the way it reacts, they like the way it sounds. That doesn't mean that you should use the same one, but I am going to show you how I chose my mix bus compressor and how I set it up. And I'm going to show you some other options as well that we could have gone with. Now, the SSL Mix Bus Compressor is a classic choice when it comes to this application, and honestly, you can't go far wrong. Tons and tons of mix engineers are churning out incredible sounding mixers using an SSL on the mix bus. However, for me, I personally think that the SSL is just a little bit too grabby. I'm doing a lot of mixes in the sort of rock, pop punk, pop rock, country music genres, and I want something that's just a little bit slower than what the SSL is. I want something that I can compress, but it doesn't clamp down too hard, which is what the SSL does. If you're doing outright pop, EDM, dance music, stuff like that, an SSL is great because you can really get it pumping, you can get it reacting to the mix. That's not what I'm going for 99% of the time. So I'm actually using this plugin by Slate Digital, the FG Red. This is a model of the Focusrite Red3 compressor. It's a little bit less well known, but there are some notable mixers that use this. CLA is famous for using it. His mixers, in my opinion, are some of the best sounding mixers that exist. That was the reason that I checked this out in the first place. And honestly, I've been using this for years now and never looked back. What I love about the Focusrite over the SSL is that it is still a VCA style compressor. It just doesn't clamp down as hard as the SSL does, which means that I can get more compression without it starting to sound overly pumpy or without any of those negative effects that I don't necessarily want in the mix. So let's take a look at how this is set up. So I've got the ratio really, really low. We're on a 1.5:1 ratio. The reason that I've chosen that is because I can put more gain reduction in. I can set the threshold so I'm getting anywhere between 3 and 5 dB of gain reduction, which on the mix bus might sound a hell of a lot. And you're right, with an SSL set to 4:1, that would be way too much. But we're not set at 4:1. We're only at 1.5:1. Now, again, because we've got the ratio set quite low and the Focusrite is inherently more forgiving than the SSL, we've got the attack set medium, but edging more towards fast. If we'd got this set on an SSL, if we were edging towards fast, it'd be clamping way too hard on the transients. It'd be grabbing them too much. We'd be getting too much pumping. But that's another reason that I really like this Focusrite. The release is just set to auto, and then the makeup gain I've just got set a couple of dBs. I'm typically getting around 3 to 5 dB of gain reduction, so the makeup gain is set around that level to make it back up. What I really like about this particular plugin from Slate is this function here, which is called Drive. What's really great about the Focusrite, and I've been lucky enough to use several of these units in the past, is that the output transformer imparts a really nice character on the sound, and quite often you'll find yourself driving the output because the saturation and the warmth that that gives is just really pleasing, particularly on a whole mix. The problem with that is if you're driving the output, you're also pushing more gain. So what Slate Digital have done is they've put this drive function here, which allows you to add that saturation but without affecting the level or the gain. So they've separated that out. We can have clean gain over here, but we can have the drive from the output transformer without necessarily having to boost a ton of volume. So let's take a listen to this song. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the compressor in and out so you can hear the difference when it's not there.
You make my heart skip a beat. You keep my fire burning bright. But every time that we try to turn these wrongs into rights, I feel it, you slip away. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true that you're trying to find someone new. 'Cause all I have left is you.
So that compression on the mix bus is giving quite a significant effect to the overall sound. It's quite difficult to describe. It sounds really corny and really cheesy, but it really does just sound more polished and more like a record with that compression on. When you take it away, it still sounds good, but with it on, kind of takes it from a 7 to a 10. Some things that I really notice is when the compression is on, everything just sounds more glued together. The guitars come forward. The drums are more gelled within the mix. When we take it away, the snare and the kick is kind of a bit too pointy. It's kind of sticking out in a way that isn't that pleasing. Whereas when we put the compression in, it's just kind of pinned and held back in place. Now, one of the most important things is to set this in the sweet spot. I've decided for this, the sweet spot is around 3 dB of gain reduction. If we're not hitting that point, if we're too low, well, then you're not going to get all the effects that I just spoke about. But let's now see what happens when we push it too far and we're getting too much gain reduction.
A fire burning bright. But every time that we try to turn these wrongs into rights, I feel it, you slip away. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true.
So at that point, you can see that we've overcooked it. We've killed all of the dynamics. The drums just sound squashed and everything just sounds really, really flat, and we've lost that depth. Now let's see how things change if we choose a totally different compressor altogether. Now we talked about the SSL being a classic mix bus compressor, and it really is, and for very good reason. It sounds really, really great, but it sounds very different to the one that we've just been using, and let me show you how. Now this plugin is from SSL themselves, and this is the classic mix bus setting. We've got the attack set to 10, so it's a fairly slow attack. We need that to let the transients through. If we have the attack too quick, it's going to clamp down on the kick and the snare. It's going to squash them too much. The release is set to auto. The threshold's set so that we're getting the amount of gain reduction that we want. And the ratio is set to 4:1. Remember, that is quite significantly higher than it was on the Focusrite. So let's take a listen to what this sounds like.
But every time that we try to turn these wrongs into rights, I feel it, you slip away. All I have left is you, and I can't.
Now that doesn't sound bad by any stretch, but for me, you can really hear how this is pumping more and it's clamping down way more on the transients, the kick and the snare. For me, I just prefer the more forgiving nature of the Focusrite for this style of music. Now, there are absolutely things that we could do here. This plugin has got lower ratios, so we could knock this down to 3:1, 2:1, even 1.5:1, which is what we were set at on the Focusrite. So let's put it there. Let's see how that changes things.
I'm feeling you simple way. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true that you're trying to find someone.
Now that does sound much better in my opinion than when it was set at 4-1, but we're not getting as much of the glue as what I felt like we were getting from the Focusrite. SSLs tend to kind of make things a little bit narrower. It tends to kind of focus you in on the sound, whereas the Focusrite is just a bit more open. And again, this is totally down to individual taste. Many people will use this and it'll sound great. This is just my thought process. So let's now do a switch between the two. I think we've got the SSL in a place that sounds good. Let's compare it side by side with that Focusrite. We'll start with the SSL, which is on right now.
All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true.
Now the Focusrite.
I'm feeling you simple way. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true that you're
Back to the SSL.
trying to find someone new. 'Cause all I have left
And back to the Focusrite.
is you. Everything that passes by.
Now, if you're a songwriter, if you're in a band, if you're releasing music in any way, shape, or form, then likely one of the biggest struggles that you have, beyond getting it to sound great with a really great production and mix, is getting that music heard by the masses. Every songwriter wants to release the music and for it to get heard by millions, get played on radio stations, get picked up by blogs, magazines, and ultimately allow you to play bigger shows, bigger festivals, bigger stages that's going to allow you to expand your audience. But for most independent artists, this is really difficult to do. With 100,000 songs being released on Spotify every single day, you need to make sure that you stand out above all of that noise. Well, to help with this, I've created a 4-week release roadmap. This is the exact strategy that I use with all of the artists and the clients that I work with that helps them get their music onto radio stations, get them on blogs, magazines, podcasts, get them publishing deals, and ultimately allows them to access more opportunities, bigger stages, bigger audiences that's going to help them advance their career. The benefit of using this release roadmap is that it takes all of the guesswork out of what you should be doing to promote your new single. Many artists will just end up with decision paralysis and they'll end up doing virtually nothing with their release because you just don't know what to do. You try something, it doesn't really work, so then you just kind of forget about it, try something else, and it just doesn't work. You need a consistent, targeted release strategy, and that's what this roadmap gives you. So when you release your next song, all you have to do is follow this roadmap. This will get you traction, it will grow your fan base on social media, and it's going to make sure that your music gets heard and it doesn't disappear into the black hole of Spotify. And the best part is it's completely free, and you can even customize and tweak it to your own needs. You don't have to follow it exactly if that doesn't suit you. So go ahead, check the link in the description below and grab your release roadmap now.